So today I want to talk to you about why never to be disrespectful on an airplane, especially to the airline staff. So yeah, find out what happened, keep watching, keep on listening. Welcome back to consecutive day 1806 of a diary of a Runpreneur. Today's topic is all about why you should never be disrespectful to anyone, but especially not on an aeroplane and to the airline staff. Before we get into that though, please don't forget this is a fundraiser for saving the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultra marathon of run vlogging on consecutive days, the distance of a lap of the world, barefoot style. The more people we get in front of, more money we raise, more children's lives we save, which is why I do this every single day. So yeah, back to the topic at hand. Why you should never be disrespectful to representatives of an airline, especially on an aeroplane. So I'm here first and foremost, I'm here in the beautiful Almeria, in a place called Desert Springs Resort, which is a kind of golfing and kind of resort holiday home. There's some residential people that stay here as well. And it's absolutely paradise. It's here in Andalusia, a short distance from the city of Almeria. And as you can see, beautiful golf course to my left. The sun's beautiful. Scenery is amazing. So if you just have a pan around, you can kind of see exactly what the surrounding views are like, which are stunning. But I'll talk more about the resort and the kind of retreat that I'm kind of on over the next couple of days. But today I just have to reflect upon what happened yesterday when we were travelling to here. So we're on the downside of coming to this Desert Springs Resort is one of the airports you can fly to is Alicante in Spain. It's about a 2-hour drive from Alicante Airport to where we're staying, which is stunning. It's not ruined, it's not full of British tourists, it's just beautiful. It's very unspoilt, and any expats here are very respectful and very nice. But the downside of travelling to Alicante is it's the main airport to the kind of town or resort of Benidorm, which is renowned for kind of drunken debauchery among the youngsters, especially the British. And it's often these British kind of members of the public who go to these resorts that give the rest of us a bad name when it comes to travelling. A lot of people dislike the British due to the kind of rowdiness that kind of comes with it. Yeah, it's only a select few, but the select few kind of give the rest of us this kind of stigma. But yeah, so the downside of flying to Alicante. Now, fortunately, one of the other airports you can fly to this resort is Murcia, and we're flying back from Murcia. So hopefully it'll be Almeria or Murcia, and we're flying back from Almeria in a couple of days' time, and you know, the clientele there will be very different to the ones coming back from Benidorm. But anyway, the reason this is relevant is we were delayed by an hour and a half getting out here on the plane. It was a Ryanair flight, budget airline, super convenient to kind of scoot around Europe relatively cheaply, certainly from the UK. And we were flying Ryanair, and this plane, you could only describe it was full of people that were going to Benidorm. Now, yes, there were some nice, decent people, some older people who were just looking to get a bit of sun and enjoyed what Benidorm has to offer from the kind of night scene. But there were others that were just clearly there to drink as much as they possibly could for the duration of their stay, starting in the UK at the airport at Luton, where we flew from. And so the comfort of it was that this plane was full of people that were well oiled, so to speak. When I say well oiled, they've been drinking quite a few drinks prior to getting on the plane, and then we're intending on doing so more so throughout the flight. Now, this one individual seemed to get far too intoxicated before boarding the flight, and then when he was being asked to do the standard things that you're asked to do on a plane by the air stewardess and stewards for safety precautions, he was highly abusive. I'm just going past someone, so bear me a second. Hola. Ooh, a couple of dogs. And ultimately, because he wasn't cooperating, and he still persistently wasn't cooperating, he was getting more and more irate when the stewardesses and the stewards were asking him to do what needed to be done for safety protocols, and he was getting more and more irate, more and more aggressive, more and more abusive, to the extent that they then had to stop the plane on the runway, taxi it back to the terminal to get this passenger off, or evicted from the plane, if you like. And to the dismay of all of these other kind of passengers who were innocent to this kind of unruly behaviour. But then not only that, a lot of these passengers were also pretty well oiled, pretty well alcohol infused, so to speak, but not to the level this other guy was. But because this other guy had stopped the plane from taking off, they were then getting increasingly rowdy and frustrated with the situation, that they were then shouting abuse at this individual kind of passenger, who then, when we got to the terminal, refused to move and was trying to negotiate himself back onto the flight, obviously to no avail, to the extent we had to wait another half an hour for the police to board the plane to arrest this individual and take him off the plane. And what didn't help matters was that a lot of the other passengers were stoking the fire, so to speak, by shouting abuse unnecessarily at the individual who was already trying to be calmed down by the professionals on the plane. He was then getting revved up and riled up again by the passengers shouting abuse at him because he was inconveniencing their holiday. So yeah, that was a kind of scenario or situation I wouldn't really want to experience again. It was highly frustrating. A lot of kind of tension on the plane. You didn't know whether fists were going to be thrown, whether it was just insults. You know, I had one guy sitting next to me who stood up and shouted at the top of his voice some abuse towards the passenger who was being evicted, and the passenger who was being evicted then turned around and stuck his two middle fingers up at this guy, who next to me was then trying to kind of trample over me to go and kind of confront this guy. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And ultimately, the learnings from my diary today is that, you know, when we go anywhere, when we go on holidays or vacations to good times and stuff, you have to appreciate that, you know, there are still people doing their jobs to get you there, to keep you safe, to follow protocol, which is there for the right reasons. And you just need to toe the line. No matter how intoxicated you are or whatever, you have to respect people and treat people as you would want to be treated yourself. And clearly this didn't happen on this occasion. It escalated out of control. It was a highly kind of tense situation that nobody wanted to really be involved in, but there were so many people that were caught up in the crossfires of one person's kind of disrespect, and it affected so many others. But I do believe that it may not have got to the stage it got to had the rest of the passengers on the plane, or the few of them that were also quite heavily intoxicated with alcohol, throwing insults and abuse at this individual to escalate it further. So in one way of looking at it, the people who were antagonising the situation that was trying to be calmed probably got the guy evicted, fair enough, by shouting abuse at him and him retaliating. So ultimately he was never going to calm down in that situation. But then at the expense of it being delayed probably by an hour or so longer than it needed to be. So yeah, just treat people as you expect to be treated yourself, and respect people who are trying to do their jobs in the best interest of you, which so many people, when you're talking about holidays, fail to realise. So anyway, that's it for me. It was entertaining in some degree, but frustrating in others. And you know, ultimately, there was a lot of people who probably were delayed their holiday quite frustratingly, that it didn't need to happen if people would have just been a little bit more respectful. So anyway, that's it for me. Questions or comments, drop me a line. Anything relevant, I'll respond to. Do remember though, if you believe in my mission of saving the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultramarathon of run vlogging on consecutive days, a distance of lap of the world, barefoot style, do give this a subscribe, share, like and comment. More people we get in front of, more money we raise, more children's lives we save, which is why I do this every single day. Thank you as always. Stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you again tomorrow.